So I just saw this breaking news from Cointelegraph. CFTC acting chairman Pham just announced they're launching this new crypto sprint to roll out Trump's crypto recommendations. This is huge for us. I've always thought the CFTC should be the ones handling crypto regulations instead of the SEC. They've just been so much more on our side as regular investors. Of course, that was back when Gary Gensler was running the SEC show. Now that he's out of the picture, I think we're going to see everyone being way more friendly to everyday investors like us. We won't have to jump through those crazy hoops to prove we're quote unquote accredited investors just to put our money into crypto. Man, do you remember how close we came to that nightmare in 2023 and 2024? I'm so relieved Gensler's gone because I really want the next wave of crypto investors to have the same opportunities we had when we first got into this space. Look, you've got to be your own broker here. Don't just walk into some financial advisor's office and let them tell you which cryptos to buy. Jump in, do your homework, and pick what actually makes sense for your portfolio. That's how the rest of us figured it out. Speaking of which, there's this crazy flipping action happening with XRP and ADA that nobody's really talking about. Uphold pointed out this whole flipping situation with XRP, ADA, and ETH that's flying under the radar, right? Now, I'm not buying that ADA is going to flip Ethereum, at least not this bull run, but XRP, that's a different story. It's not a question of if it'll flip Ethereum, it's when. And honestly, thoughtful. I think XRP is going all the way to flip Bitcoin during this cycle. I know that sounds wild, but I really think we're going to see it happen. Even JP Morgan is way underestimating how much money is going to pour into these XRP ETFs. They're predicting like $8 billion, but I'm thinking we'll see closer to $20 billion easy. I mean, we could be looking at 4 times what the Bitcoin ETFs pulled in during their early days. The demand for XRP is just insane right now, and most investors are already thinking way beyond Bitcoin at this point. As for ADA this cycle, I'm still not sure, but it's definitely starting to pick up some serious momentum lately. But here's the thing. Digital currencies aren't even the final destination. They're just the bridge to something way bigger. The real game changer we're heading toward, a gold-backed stablecoin. Check this out.
I don't think there's actually been a real stablecoin invented out there yet, but I think that we may be able to create the first ever real stablecoin with real assets backing it. And so the ultimate goal is to improve the accessibility, the transparency, the provenance, and the trust behind gold and moving gold around. And so we've got a pretty heavy initiative focused on trying to work with a broader group of the refiners, the banks, the traders, to come up with a system that is gold backed and allows us to move gold around quickly, freely, with confidence, with trust, and with transparency, and actually ultimately provide gold as an alternative to the US dollar.
I think I know exactly what's coming next. We're heading back to a gold-backed system. That's why central banks have been hoarding gold like crazy throughout this entire bear market. Remember all those announcements? They were buying up every ounce of gold they could get their hands on because they're planning to back their digital currencies with it. But here's the kicker. Those gold-backed digital currencies are still going to need a bridge to move around, and that bridge is XRP. That's exactly why XRP doesn't need to be gold-backed itself. It's going to be the one moving all that gold value around when these gold-backed currencies start flowing worldwide. Dom from EZA really nailed it with this insight, and you can see where people's attention is going. 1.2 million views compared to 120K in just the first 48 hours. No amount of fake FUD, paid shills, or bot armies can compete with a genuine community that's laser focused on the same goal. That's how crypto actually goes mainstream, through unity, not all this division we keep seeing. Totally agree with him. He's calling out this whole Chainlink versus XRP war that's been raging on social media for the past few days. And it's getting worse too. Even Matt Hamilton had to jump in and set the record straight. He basically said, look, I never got why the Chainlink crowd keeps taking shots at the XRP ledger. Chainlink doesn't even have its own native chain. It literally can't do what XRP does. These are two completely different things that serve different purposes. They're not even competitors. They actually work together perfectly. Right now in crypto, smart money is all about collaboration. Just look at what's actually happening. Brad Garlinghouse is meeting with Lehman Baird, and Brad literally chose Chainlink for RLUSD. The big players aren't fighting at all. It's just us, retail investors, going at each other's throats on X, trying to prove our coin is better than everyone else's. Meanwhile, the real builders are busy working together to make this whole thing actually work. He said, if your plan is to take on the establishment and threaten entrenched interests, a system that can be collapsed with no clear recovery path by anyone who values it more dead than alive is the wrong tool for the job. But honestly, that's not even the biggest problem. The real issue is that proof-of-work systems can't stay secure against anyone with deep pockets unless they keep burning massive amounts of value from their own ecosystem. We're talking millions of dollars every single day just handed over to electric companies. Bottom line, proof-of-work just doesn't work. But what David Schwartz was really getting at is how Bitcoin maximalists have spent years positioning Bitcoin as this anti-establishment, anti-bank, anti-government thing. And look where that got them. Now they're literally begging the US government to buy Bitcoin and bail out their bags. That's the complete 180 we've watched happen over the last couple years. But XRP, totally different story. David puts it perfectly. You think it's hard for the NSA or China to pull off a 51% attack on Bitcoin? All it takes is money, and they can even short Bitcoin to help cover those costs. Here's the scary part, though. The consequences are completely different. If Bitcoin gets hit like that, it's not clear how it even recovers. You can't just swap out the proof-of-work algorithm and call it a day. But with XRP, recovery is straightforward. You just change out the validators and you're back in business. It's that simple. When it comes to XRP, you've got everything you need. It's lightning fast, dirt cheap, and rock solid secure. No stress about who's controlling the mining or any of that drama. That's Bitcoin's nightmare right there. It's already way too centralized, and now we're seeing the proof. This isn't a joke. We've got a legitimate emergency on our hands. Right now, just two mining pools control 51.4% of Bitcoin's mining power. If Foundry and F2 Pool decided to team up, or if one just bought out the other, they could literally attack the entire network. And get this, Foundry USA just mined 8 blocks in a row, 8 consecutive blocks. That should terrify anyone who understands what that means. Even the hardcore Bitcoiners I know are starting to freak out. I've been screaming about this for years. Bitcoin is dangerously centralized. A handful of miners and insiders basically control both the network and the price. This is just more proof of what I've been saying, and I think that's exactly why we're seeing these OG wallets, the original Bitcoin maximalists, finally starting to dump their Bitcoin. The problems are so obvious now that there's no way to spend them anymore. They used to make everything sound absolutely perfect, but people are finally catching on. That's exactly why these OG Bitcoin holders are starting to warm up to XRP. We've been watching it happen ever since the election when XRP absolutely exploded. All of a sudden, you've got these diehard Bitcoiners actually talking about XRP, discussing its potential, where the price could be heading over the next few months. There's a serious shift happening right before our eyes. And that's why I keep saying it's just a matter of time before XRP takes that #1 spot. Now, this is interesting. This is the second person I've heard say that billions of people are going to have crypto wallets on their phones practically overnight. Charles Hoskinson was the first one to call this. Listen to this.
Wall Street's excited. They're going to tokenize a bunch of stuff. They're going to put it on blockchains. That's great. But I think Silicon Valley is going to be the distribution. In the next couple of years, Apple and Google are going to enable stablecoins and a crypto wallet natively in iOS and Android. So kind of sort of overnight, 6, 7, 8 billion people are going to get a crypto wallet in their phone. They don't even have to ask for it. It's just going to be there. And there's going to be APIs in the operating systems for every single application. Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook, you name it, is going to be able to tap into that API.
Is it happening more quickly than you thought, slower than you thought, or as you thought?
I mean, look, if you asked Kyle of 8 years ago, would crypto be like mature 8 years later, I would have said yes. And I would argue crypto is not really mature today, so slower than I would have thought. But I think a huge part of that has just been regulatory, which you could never forecast. Genius happening has changed a lot of things. Even 30 days ago, it was like illegal for anyone in Silicon Valley, like any of the big tech companies, to actually do anything productive with crypto. That is no longer the case as of roughly 30 days ago. And I think once those guys flip the switch, that's when this goes truly, truly, huge.
Pay attention to what he said, flip the switch. But I think the reason everything slowed down was because it had to. Things were moving way too fast, way too crazy. I honestly think that's exactly why they brought Gary Gensler into the SEC, to pump the brakes on this whole space. But now we've got a pro-crypto SEC, a pro-crypto president, actual laws being written, and real regulations just around the corner. Things are about to seriously take off now. Everyone's going to have a crypto wallet soon, and you're going to start seeing incentives everywhere to buy this crypto or that crypto. Someone in the comments nailed it perfectly. They said this is going to be the real flip the switch moment. Once they start offering incentives to earn different utility coins or whatever other coins, and people are getting real value delivered straight to their phones, fiat currency is done for. And I totally agree. This is exactly how they're going to get people to ditch cash completely. Everything will be digital. Everything will happen right from your phone once you've got that digital wallet set up. Think about it like this. You know how Coinbase lets you earn crypto just by answering a few questions? You learn about different projects and get some free coins in the process. They're probably going to start doing exactly that right on your phone very soon. Mass adoption is literally around the corner. And get this, XRP and HBAR are going to directly benefit from Swift's live digital asset trials and their ongoing transition to ISO 2022. This comes straight from Veneer Assets, and they break it down perfectly. This development could also benefit crypto-related payment networks such as XRP and HBAR, known for fast, low-cost transfers. And here's the kicker. It's all happening alongside Swift's transition to the ISO 20022 standard, which makes financial data way richer and more usable across borders. This is huge for both XRP and HBAR. Look, I've been shouting this from the rooftops. Everyone sleeping on ISO 20022 is going to have some serious FOMO regret coming their way. Swift isn't just talking about this anymore. They're balls deep in making it happen. And here's the beautiful part. Crypto gets woven directly into those ISO messages. Real money is about to start flowing, and I mean real money. Here's my take. Scoop up some of every single ISO crypto out there. I'm not one of those guys telling you to go all in on one horse and pray. That's not how you play this game. I've been preaching diversification since day one, because here's the deal. Every one of these utility beasts has its own lane, but they're all built for one thing: moving massive amounts of cash. And when you're the highway for that kind of volume, you don't get to stay at bargain basement prices forever. We're talking about your ticket to generational wealth here. These ISO 20022 cryptos are the golden children. But hey, until all the dominoes fall into place, keep your cool, stay optimistic, and let's ride this wave to the bank together. That's a wrap, folks. Thanks for hanging with me. You guys are the best. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace out.